Hello. Hello, divas, dolls, theys, and gays, and happy Pride. Little solo episode for you today. I'm showing off the Pride shawl. My lovely grandma, my Oma, made this for me for my wedding, and it's a stunning rainbow shawl for the listeners. For those who can see me, you can go on YouTube, see the shawl. Very stunning, very Pride, very colorful. How's everyone doing? How are we doing? Another solo episode today. I had a recording set up with somebody else, ended up falling through, so you get me by myself again. There will be another guest on next week. Very, very excited for her to come on. If you would like to be on the Talking Person podcast, you can email me at talkingpersonpodcast@gmail.com, and I will get back to you within 1 to 2 weeks. Little plug there. But yeah, looking for guests. Happy Pride. Little PSA. What else? Oh, hi. New hair. For those who are watching, we cut the hair. It was like getting kind of long. It's getting to be summer. It's getting to be hot and disgusting outside. I have naturally curly hair, so I normally blow dry it out. It was getting a little bit too much to be doing that after every shower, so we've cut it short. We've gone with some highlights, some copper caramel moments. Much love to Ella Fritz. She's at Hair on the Fritz on Instagram. She always does my hair so well. But yeah, Ella, shout out to the new hair. For those who are just listening, it is about shoulder length right now. Very kicky, very cute. Very cute little summer Pride haircut. But yeah, solo episode today. Very, very excited. Yeah, another announcement. New COVID variant in the United States. It is supposed to make you feel like you're swallowing razor blades. Fever, gastrointestinal issues, not fabulous. So, my reminder to mask up. I am still masking everywhere indoors. I have a very small COVID informed bubble. I had a post go viral on Threads because I was like, what did the post say? I said, oh, did anybody get this weird cold going around? And I was like, it's COVID. It's COVID, guys. It got over 100,000 views. It was my first viral post. I was kind of blown away that a COVID post went that big, but I think it goes to show that people are still masking. I got a lot of comments about people who were like, thanks for this reminder, I have COVID right now, or thanks for this reminder, I just tested and I have COVID. So avoid this new variant if you can. RFK Jr., I'm sure you guys have seen the news. A lot of COVID informed people watching, but our access to vaccines is being threatened right now. I don't know where people get off trying to restrict access to vaccines, especially for vulnerable populations. What the fuck? But with that said, wearing a mask indoors or in densely populated areas is still your best shot at protecting yourself from COVID and limiting the spread of the virus. So that's my other PSA for today. Mask up. And then yeah, I think that's all my announcements. Yeah, love yourself. Happy Pride. Have been seeing there's at the start of every Pride, I feel like there's always the sort of bisexual drama that happens where, and I'm not blaming any particular group. It seems to be this year I've gotten a lot of hate from mostly lesbian identifying people who are if you're bi in a straight passing relationship, you're not bi. It's very much attached to who you're dating at the moment. And I got the weirdest fucking comment from somebody who was like, oh, if you're bisexual, you need to date the same sex for at least a year before you decide or before you can say you're anyway. Happy Pride. Homophobia, transphobia, not welcome here in the whole bi conversation, which, by the way, bi, but in a straight passing relationship, which I understand there's a lot of privilege with that, but your sexuality is yours, not your partner's, and your sexuality doesn't depend on who you're dating. I mean, it informs who you're dating, but who you're dating doesn't dictate your sexuality at that particular moment. So, hi. queer on the channel, queer on the pod, and any homophobic, transphobic comments will be blocked. Did a lot of that on Threads this week. I have no problem blocking y'all. Y'all are weird. Anyway, on to the podcast today because it's a solo episode and I'm kind of feeling lazy. I was like, what do we do that's just kind of like chill hanging out? I couldn't find a guest for this week, but I was like, let's do a Reddit podcast. I love listening to them. I feel like a lot of people like listening to them. Since I just got married, I collected some Reddit Am I the Asshole threads about weddings, and I thought it would be very fun to go through them today. Don't know how long this episode's going to be, but I'm thinking it'll be a little short and sweet moment. Normally my ones with guests are like hour and a half to 2 hours, so I'm hoping to keep this one short. So if you're interested in a shorter episode, we're going to do some Am I the Asshole Reddits. I will be judging people, one of my favorite things to do. And yeah, you guys can sound off in the comments if you disagree with me. I collected some and I feel like the takes aren't going to be that hot. A lot of them were like, egregious. So I will be reading, and then I collected some too. My husband was helping me vet some of these last night. So some of them I have not read, and I'm excited to get into them. So welcome to today's podcast. Am I the asshole? Let's go. Okay. First one. Am I the asshole for saying I don't want to be my friend's, quote, fat bridesmaid aesthetic, end quote? Let's see. I, 29 woman, have a friend, 30 woman, who's getting married in October. We've been close since college, but lately it feels like I'm just aesthetic filler to her. She picked her bridal party dresses without asking for input, and they're tight, like Skims meets sausage casing tight. I love that. I'm a size 16. Oh my gosh, same. The other girls are sizes 2 to 6. I asked if there were other options, and she laughed and said, no, I love how it looks with all body types. It's giving real woman. So she goes, excuse me? I asked her straight up if she just wanted me there as some token diversity of size, and she got quiet, then hit me with, quote, you're so confident though, that's why I wanted you in it, which is honestly code for you make me look better. I agree with that. I told her I'm not comfortable being someone's walking body positivity prop, and maybe she should get one of her influencer friends instead. She cried, told me I was ruining her vision, and now the group chat is weirdly quiet. Yikes. My boyfriend thinks I should just suck it up for the day, but I'm so tired of pretending shit doesn't bother me when it clearly does. Am I the asshole for saying I don't want to be part of her Pinterest fantasy? This is kind of wild to me. And maybe it's because my wedding was so chill. My husband and I wanted just a very relaxed day. I talked about this on my last solo episode. This is kind of crazy to me. We let all of our party members just pick what they wanted to wear. Everybody looked stunning. I do understand some brides want everybody in the same color. I know that that's been a thing for weddings for a while. I do think it is kind of unreasonable to request that everybody wear the same cut of dress. That was something that was important to us for our party, that like people just feel comfortable and wear something they want to wear. One of my bridesmaids was like, is this color too pastel? Is this like okay? And I just said, do you like how you look in it? So I'm going to go with no. I don't think that this woman is an asshole for kind of calling out the bride and saying, am I the fat friend in this situation? I think it's a very weird thing to say, you're so confident though, that's why I wanted you in it. I do kind of feel like I have seen this with some brides. I just saw somebody who got married, and she, I'm not going to say who it is because it'll instantly give away who it is, but I saw her have, like, the photos came back and she posted pictures of her bridesmaids that, like, the bridesmaids were making awkward faces. It made her look good. She chose all the photos where she looked great, and like some of the bridesmaids are like smiling or laughing, or they have an awkward face. It makes it look like they have like chins. And we are not fat phobic here on the pod. Fat women are beautiful. But I think that in this particular situation, having kind of a fat phobic friend make you be in her wedding in a dress you're uncomfortable in is pretty ridiculous. I feel like the bride in this situation could have picked a color or family of colors and then let brides pick it. I know David's Bridal is one where they offer every cut of dress in the same color. So every dress comes in like 80 colors. And so you could have bridesmaids say, hey, this is the swatch. You have to pick something in like this desert rose or this cinnamon color, and then have everybody pick a different dress or one that fits like them. As a plus size woman, I can definitely see how it would have been very uncomfortable to be in a very tight dress for the whole day. Yeah, I'm gonna say she's not the asshole. I think that brides are expecting a lot out of their party members. I feel like brides are expecting, the bachelorette party, the bridal shower, they're expecting you to travel. I've heard crazy stories of brides asking for like honeymoon fund money from the bridesmaids and the groomsmen, any of your attendants. And I think it's unreasonable what brides are asking, if I'm honest. At least for me, I feel like it's very unreasonable to be forcing people to wear a certain cut, a certain color, especially when you have bridesmaids of different sizes. And I also think I really feel bad for this woman, because hearing that the other bridesmaids are sizes 2 to 6, I mean, it does seem to me like that's very much like a tokenization of your fat friend. And being the fat friend myself in a lot of situations, it's just like, just shut up. So yeah, not the asshole. Okay, next one. Am I the asshole for uninviting my best man from my wedding because he demanded I invite his fiance? Yikes. Apparently the post has been locked, and the post has been removed by the moderators of the Am I the Asshole Reddit. Oh my gosh, the account got shadow banned and suspended. Yikes. Okay, so I won't be reading that one. OP got blocked. Anyway, next one. For real this time. Am I the Asshole Wedding Edition? This has to do with a mother-in-law. Okay, here we go. Am I the asshole? I, female, have been dating my fiance, male, for 12 years and was proposed to May 4th, 2024. That's the same day I was proposed to. We agreed to have the wedding May 5th, 2025 to match our anniversary, July 4th, July 5th. He asked me to be his girlfriend on July 4th at midnight, which would make it July 5th. LOL, we keep disagreeing on the subject. Okay, whatever. I've been planning a lot of it to save money, and I'm also very artistic, so I've been doing a lot of the hands-on labor as well, and he has been funding a lot of it. I spoke to my bridesmaids and had showed them the dress and color I'd like them to wear, dusty pink, and the groom pink and white, and groomsmen cream and pink ties and pink vest outfits. Okay, cool. So she's not dictating the type of dress, it's just the color, I think. So she says, I showed my future mother-in-law what color and style of dress I wanted her and my mother to wear, a darker pink, and the grandmothers as well. I told her she could pick her own style of dress, and that's the color I would like for it to be. She was okay with it, but then starts scrolling online and shows me the dress she wants, which fits the pink. I'm like, okay, and said, sure, no problem. And she keeps looking and finds another dress, which happens to be the pink and exact dress I picked out for the bridesmaids. I politely tell her that's the dress I've picked out for the bridesmaids. Please pick something else. She goes back to scrolling. Seems fine. We get up to leave to take my fiance's brother out to celebrate his birthday at a gaming bar he has to go to. Okay, blah, blah, blah. She goes and shows the two dresses to my fiance, asks him to pick which dress she would look nice in as I'm in the bathroom. Okay, that's problematic. We're going to get to that. When I came out, he picked the bridesmaid dress that I had showed him, and I had clearly told her no to, and she agreed with him and ordered the dress. Yikes. I spoke to my mom, my bridesmaids, and tried to go back to the drawing board. Now I'm scrambling. He spoke to his mom about it, and she called me, but the way she addressed it was like, oh, I already ordered it. Is there any way I can keep it? Because I don't have much money to order another one, which kind of makes me feel bad and guilty. But each time I look for another dress, it's like I had my mind set on one, and now I have to, figure it out. I texted my fiance today as he's at work to vent to him about how I'm struggling to find a new dress and how it's upsetting that I even have to do this. And he tells me, why am I being so difficult? Oh my God. Yikes. And tells me it's just a dress and is annoyed by me bringing it up and says in an annoyed tone, I'll tell her not to wear it then and buy her another dress since you're complaining about it. But I'm like, I showed it to you. I showed you the dress. I showed you what everybody was going to wear so we could match accordingly. Why would you even agree to it knowing that's the dress I picked for them? He claimed he forgot, and apparently I'm the problem and causing friction. So people have read it. Am I being the asshole over the dress issue? 2 dress ones in a row. I think this one is bigger than the dress issue. I feel like I was seeing this. This is not the only mother-in-law one that I have saved, and I feel like that's a very common problem for weddings. I think the problem, first problem was that it did seem like you were being pretty accommodating. You had picked a color, and it seemed like certain bridesmaids were going to be wearing the same cut of dress. I couldn't quite tell about that part, but it does seem like you kind of gave people a general idea of the pink that you wanted, and then you wanted a darker pink for the mothers-in-law and the grandmothers. That seems very reasonable. I struggle with the part where like you clearly tell your mother-in-law like, hey, I've picked that for bridesmaids, and then when you are not in the room, it said when she was in the bathroom, the mother-in-law goes and asks her son, and I think that is incredibly problematic because what that is saying, that sounds very much to me like when you ask one parent for ice cream and they say no, so you go and ask the other parent. That feels to me very disrespectful of the daughter-in-law, the bride, the poster. Yeah, that's a relationship problem too. I feel like I was reading this in a lot of the ones when I was kind of searching for these the last few days, but it seems like a recurring theme is, and it seems to be mostly with sons, it seems like the mother-in-law who's the problem is normally the mother of the groom, and it does seem like there's kind of weird dynamics of like the groom not standing up for the bride, the groom kind of just being silent or putting things on the bride and saying it's her fault and not the mother-in-law. And I think personally that if you're marrying someone, you should have their back. It seems like in this case, maybe he genuinely forgot, but it does seem like he's very dismissive of her feelings. It seems like, and obviously we don't know the other side of the situation, but it's a very normal thing to call your boyfriend, your spouse, and vent. And it just seems like her partner was not listening to her. And yet then he says that she's being the problem and causing friction. I mean, yeah, I would say she's not the asshole. I think that in this situation, the mother-in-law is the biggest asshole, followed by the groom. That's my assessment of that. And I would really sit down with him. Let me see, when was this posted? Oh, it was 7 months ago. The wedding might have already happened. But yeah, this is kind of crazy. Yeah, not the asshole. I feel like the mother-in-law intentionally making sure you were out of the room to ask her son is weird. And then I just honestly think you should sit down with your husband, if you didn't already after posting this, and just kind of outline the feelings in this situation, because it seems very much like you were clear about things that you wanted. I feel like a solve for this would be sitting down with your fiance, or if you know, husband, and being like, this is why this upset me. I had picked something. The color of the dresses was important to me, even if it, wasn't important to you. This is something that I wanted to prioritize. And, I was upset. I felt hurt when you sided with your mom, or at least it felt like to me like you sided with your mom. And yeah, hopefully he would be receptive to that. It does seem though like he is very quick to deflect and not really super willing to take responsibility for that L. But yeah, take the L, dude. She told you what she wanted. She made her thoughts clear to other people. It seems like it's pretty common to match colors for a wedding for the bridal party. So it seems like she was being reasonable, or at least, average. And yeah, she's not the asshole. Mother-in-law and groom, close second. Next one. Okay, this one's about prenups. This is definitely interesting. Am I the asshole for suggesting calling off the wedding because she thinks the prenup is unfair? My girlfriend, 26 female, and myself, male 24, have just found out that she's pregnant. She is adamant about not wanting to have a child out of wedlock, so we've been discussing getting married. We've been together for 3.5 years. Prior to finding out about the baby, we had only talked about marriage a little bit. I know she wants to get married badly, but I'm kind of otherwise on the fence. I'm not 100% against it, but definitely not eager or desperate to get married for multiple reasons. For one, my brother just recently got taken to the cleaners by his ex-wife. He pays her like $10K a month in addition to losing some of his properties. Lots of exclamation marks after that one. Okay. And that whole situation terrifies me, and I've never really seen what a marriage provides that makes that risk worth it. To me, it's just the same thing as being together how we currently are, but giving the state permission to be in our relationship. However, now that she's pregnant, I've been more open to it just because I know how much it means to her. So we've started this process, and I'm slowly realizing that I may have bitten off more than I want to chew. While me and my girlfriend love each other very much and are compatible in pretty much every way, our ideas about marriage, the wedding, etc. seem to be a little different. Okay. I'll wait till the end. So back to the post. He says, for starters, for the wedding, I was thinking we each pick some of our closest people, maybe 10 or so, I don't know, and go get married on an island or beach, say for a week or two or something cool like that so we can have fun and enjoy it. That's very cool. It's actually what my parents did. Anyway, she pretty much wants the exact opposite. Massive wedding, big venue. Now I don't see anything wrong with that type of wedding. It just seems like a colossal waste of resources to invite every person we know when we could instead have fun for a week or two and then get married on the beach with our closest people. It doesn't necessarily have to be the beach. I'm flexible, but I think you get the idea I'm going for versus what she's going for. It's completely two different schools of thought. She basically wants to invite every single person she knows. Like, I've looked at her list and she's got friends she hasn't seen in years, third cousins, literally everyone. To me, if I'm going to spend a boatload of money, we should do it for ourselves, not people we barely know. I agree with him on that. We've been talking about compromises and are making slow progress on that end, but, we were getting there. She knew prior to getting married, I would require a prenup. Okay. I make about 4 times her salary and own property and plan to acquire more. I had my lawyer draft up a prenup and she has her own lawyer reviewing it. This is where we came to an impasse. Her lawyer believed the prenup was unfair and we're going back and forth making changes. I've made some concessions, but I'm kind of at a point where I don't want to make any more. While I admit the prenup is definitely ironclad, I think it's fair considering the situation. I'm taking all the risk. Why would I continue to concede on things me and my lawyer both believe are fair? So recently we got into a minor argument over wedding stuff in general regarding the prenup/wedding, and I was just like, maybe we should just keep things how they are. Of course, she flipped out. We've cooled down since, and she says she still wants to make this happen, but that I need to be more open to compromise. I feel like given the situation, I've compromised more than I already should have. I talked to my brother about it, and he told me I've compromised more than enough and to hold firm, and worst case, you stay girlfriend, boyfriend, which is realistically probably better anyways. My sister disagrees, says I'm being a jerk for not working with her more. The way I see it, why would I risk everything I've worked for when I'm not even getting the wedding I want nor the financial protection I want? So just so I can say I'm married. There's just very few tangible benefits I'd be getting in the relationship. Wow, so am I the asshole? Okay, he has an edit with there's just a tons of things about the baby and the divorce. Anyway, a lot of issues with this. I think there's a little asshole going both ways in this one, but I also feel like there's not enough information about the prenup itself in this to actually make a judgment about the prenup. Yeah, that's kind of wild. So my husband and I have a prenup. I feel like there's this weird stigma around getting a prenup that you're protecting your assets and you think the marriage is going to fail. I feel like I've heard a lot of different things like that. And quite honestly, I think that as women, we should kind of be driving that discussion more. That's my own personal opinion. I feel like everybody should be wanting to protect themselves in a marriage. It's kind of at least in my opinion, when you go fishing or you're on a boat or on a cruise, there are life jackets on that boat even when the plan is not to sink or crash. It's like wearing a seatbelt. It's like having an airbag in your car. You never plan on a crash or an accident, but you want to have protections in place. And I think the same goes for marriage. You don't plan on a divorce when you get married, obviously, or why would you be getting married? But the prenup is there as a life jacket. So I definitely don't think he's an asshole for requesting a prenup. I think it's great that they both have their own lawyers reviewing it. But on the other hand, his reason for getting the prenup being, and I quote, "My brother just recently got taken to the cleaners by his ex-wife." I think that is not a valid reason for wanting a prenup. I think, again, like the previous one, we start to get into family dynamics here, and obviously this guy needed to give more context about the prenup in general, but I can tell by how he speaks about his family that he was involving other family members in what should have been a private decision between him and his girlfriend, fiance, and their lawyers. I think it's great they involved lawyers. It seems like they were talking through lawyers, though, and I think it's not a great sign if you think you're compatible, but then you guys start disagreeing on a lot of wedding stuff. Because what might seem small, like the color of the bridesmaids' dresses, as I feel like we heard in the last post, that stuff can start to bring out other issues, like you siding with your mom over your wife, or in this situation, asking your siblings for relationship advice and legal advice before talking to your partner. And I think in that way, he's an asshole in this situation. On the other hand, I think that the wedding itself is its own issue and that they have very different ideas about what they want. And I think both are valid. I think a lot of people who want the bigger wedding want that big party. They want to have people there. And to them, friendship might be not talking for a few years, but still being close. I know I certainly have friends who, maybe we don't see each other every week, but, we'll talk once a year, once every other year. And like that friendship is still there and it's still solid. So I can see her side and I can also see his. As I said, as I was reading it, my parents got married on a beach with like 10 people. Very beautiful, very low key, and you do get a fun vacation out of it. So I definitely feel like they could have tried to meet in the middle a little bit more. I feel like they could have done something like a small ceremony on a beach for him and then maybe a reception at a later time for her with a bunch of friends or something to that effect. Like maybe smaller ceremony, larger reception. I feel like they could have met in the middle on that one. But of course, we only know what the poster has told us, and maybe there's something we're not hearing. Maybe she's being more inflexible. Maybe he's being more inflexible. Yeah, I'm like reading the post again. My sister disagrees, says I'm being a jerk. He doesn't give more information. Even in the edit, he doesn't give more information about what's outlined in the prenup, but I think it would be concerning to me if my partner, almost spouse, about to be spouse, was talking to his siblings more than me about a prenup. He seems to be getting into it too, kind of making her out to be a gold digger. Which that is like so dated too. He says, I make about 4 times her salary and own property and plan to acquire more. And he doesn't say whether that's like in relation to a business he's in, the acquiring real estate. And to an extent, I feel like he doesn't say anything about her career. And the way he's sounding it makes it sound like he's getting nothing out of this marriage. Where's the line where he says, the way I see it, yeah, he goes, the way I see it, why would I risk everything I've worked for when I'm not even getting the wedding I want, nor the financial protection I want? And I think that is very problematic. I think it is weird to feel that you should be getting something financial out of a marriage. It makes me question his motives in getting the prenup. The way that he talks about his brother's ex-wife is problematic to me. Like, that's a woman who went through a divorce. That was your sister-in-law at one point, and you're saying you took him to the cleaners, quote unquote. Yeah, I would call him an asshole, but I think that in this situation, I think that maybe people should consider having kids and getting married if they have very, very different financial views. And it seems like this is a recurring thing for him. Like not recurring. This is something that's really ingrained in him, and that finances are important, and that he's making a lot, and that should be not the center, but an important part of a marriage. And it just seems like he's not going to be happy no matter what, unless she's making the same amount or more. It just seems like this man is not going to be happy. Yeah, I don't know. It just seems like a lot of emphasis on money. I would say he is an asshole in this situation. We're not getting a lot of other information. I do think that they're both kind of being inflexible about the wedding ceremony and reception itself, but in regard to the prenup, yeah, I would definitely say he is being pretty inflexible. I'd call him the asshole. Yeah, talk about your finances with your partner. Something we did was getting a joint credit card and kind of practicing talking about finances. My husband keeps a budget spreadsheet. I keep a budget spreadsheet. We keep our finances separate, but then we obviously like play bills and rent together. And I feel like if you get to the point of marriage and there's things starting to come about finances, you need to kind of pump the brakes and talk about finances or take joint finances for a test drive. A joint credit card was a great thing because we not only kind of test drove conversations about budget, but things came up about our own personal spending. Like, my husband is somebody who was a little more frugal, and I was someone who was like, oh my gosh, we're on vacation. Let's, get whatever we want. It's vacation. And that definitely, we had conversations about compromising, and I felt like that was very good practice for marriage. And it seems like when I hear things like this, I'm like, you guys have not actually talked about everything you need to talk about before getting married. So bigger issues there. But yeah, you should get a prenup. My husband and I make almost the exact same amount, but when we were coming up with a prenup, we didn't. And I think that's another thing this guy isn't considering, is that your incomes will change. No one is guaranteed their job tomorrow. So if he were to lose his job and then his wife were to make more, I mean, then you do kind of look like the asshole in the prenup, and then it could come back to bite you as well. I feel like prenup should be a safeguard for you and any assets you come into the marriage with, but it just seems like he's not talked about what he's expecting out of the joint finances in the marriage and kind of how that communication's going to work. That's kind of wild. Anyway, let's keep it moving. Let's see. This one is, am I the asshole for telling my husband he and his mother ruined our wedding day for me? I, a 35-year-old woman, got married to my husband, 41-year-old man, recently. Neither of us liked the spotlight, so we agreed on a small event. The only thing I was firm about was I didn't want photos. My self-esteem is in the toilet. In the last 18 months, I've put on weight. I'm not looking to make excuses, but here are some reasons why. In the last 18 months, I've lost both parents and my grandmother. I've lost 2 jobs, had a miscarriage, depression has hit me hard at times, and I've been comfort eating. I feel so bad she feels like she has to explain herself, but that is terrible, and I'm so sorry. She says I was put on a new medication and weight gain's a side effect, and then about a year ago, I broke my left ankle badly. I've had 3 surgeries to date, and the last one was 10 days before the wedding. I can't walk without pain. Oh my gosh. She goes, I really didn't want photos that would remind me of the fact I'm now fat. That's valid. A few weeks before the wedding, my mother-in-law is talking about going to a local beauty spot for photos. Oh boy. I say no thank you, and that, yes, I'm being serious. My husband hears this, and later that night, I say again, I really don't want photos, and he says that he is fine with that. A week before the wedding, I'm having the same conversation with my mother-in-law and my husband. Day of the wedding, my father-in-law and mother-in-law pick us up. I'm no longer able to drive as I can't move my ankle. We get the whole legal shindig done, and as we're going back to the car, mother-in-law again says, let's go to the beauty spot for photos. I again say no, but she tells my father-in-law to drive there, and my husband just sits there. I know I gave him the look, but total silence. Long story short, the photos are taken, and we head back. In the car driving home, my mother-in-law starts showing me the photos, and I hate myself in them. I look like a pile of fat shit. I look ridiculous in a dress with a medical boot, and I can't stop the tears rolling down my cheeks. Oh my gosh. This upsets my mother-in-law, and there's an atmosphere the whole rest of the day. I really tried to move on, but I had to get out of that stupid dress, and all I really wanted was to just hide away. Privately, I told my husband him and his mother ruined our wedding day for me because all I can think about is those pictures. He said he didn't realize I was so serious about no photos, that it's only for his mom to keep, and that he thinks I look beautiful. I told him that not 30 minutes into our marriage, he totally let me down, and I don't know if I'm more hurt or furious. He said I was being ridiculous and that I let him down by making such a fuss over a, quote, normal part of weddings. He also said that I hurt his mother. She has some mental health issues and has been obsessing over the fact that I was crying on my wedding day about that. And that I need to reassure her she hasn't done anything wrong. I told him no, and there will be serious problems if he tries telling her otherwise, because as far as I am concerned, they both totally ignored my one request, and that was unacceptable. He thinks I'm being totally unreasonable. So am I being an asshole, Reddit? This is... Okay, so I'll give my thoughts, and then she has an update from a few months later. My initial thoughts on this, again, are just communication. It seems like... Let me go to the back of the post. Start of the post... Yeah, my husband hears this, and later that night I say it again, and he says he's fine with that. So it seems to me like... Later on when the husband's like, it's a normal part of weddings... It seems like he didn't communicate that he wanted photos. It seems like she did it sounds to me from what she says, like she did a good job communicating her wishes. If that was her one big wish, that she didn't want photos, you have to respect that. It's really the couple's day, and if he was okay with that and that was her one wish, that's really shitty for the mother-in-law to do that. Yikes. Yeah, she's not the asshole. Let's see what the update is. So update, with all the comments saying I disregarded my husband's wishes on his wedding day, I asked him directly, did you want those photos or did you just say you didn't to appease me? Before you all pile on again, there is no reason he would not answer truthfully. He replied that he didn't care about the photos. He said, having seen them, they are objectively bad. He clarified that they were poorly taken on a shitty phone. Not something he would want to keep and not worth the distress caused. So there already, we've heard the photos were not important to the husband. So really this was the mother-in-law driving it. He said the only photo he would have wanted was the look on my face staring up at him. When we said the I do's, he joked he should have strapped on a GoPro to his forehead to capture it, but he doesn't need a photo to remember it. Okay, so was not important to the husband. I would not have been against that ID because it would have been just private between us. He cannot give a reason for being silent in the car. Mother-in-law has a severe mental health disorder, and I believe there's fear about setting her off or making her spiral. I explained how ambushed I felt and that I only got out of the car to try and keep the peace. That really upset him. He apologized for not speaking up. I think he understands the main issues were not being supported and feeling helpless. That sounds, by the way, congrats on that communication. That sounds like, yeah, I don't know. That just sounds like very good communication. I'm glad he apologized for that. Everybody's saying I should have not got out of the car. I'm sure you would call me an asshole for throwing a childish tantrum, refusing to leave the car. If I posted that scenario, it was a lose-lose situation. I agree with that. Everybody likes to say, oh, well, you should have done this. But if she had posted, oh, I stayed in the car and refused to get out, everybody would have been like, okay, you're an asshole. So I feel for her. I apologize for letting my insecurities become part of our marriage. He hadn't realized just how deep my issues ran. I'm guilty of putting on a brave face, so I can't blame him for that. We don't want any drama. I'm not going to hold a grudge against my mother-in-law, blah, blah, blah. We both agree that what matters is our 9-year-long relationship that's now a marriage and not a single day where some papers are signed. Agree with that. Good for you. We're not American. Marriage is not such a big deal here. That's important context. Yeah, this is crazy. She apologizes for fat phobic language. I mean, she's talking about herself, and she goes on to talk about how she's having counseling and therapy for it. I am gonna judge this not the asshole. Why are these all the Reddit posts? There are just so many where mother-in-laws are not respecting the wishes of the bride or the couple, and that's just so problematic. I feel for this woman because his silence in the car, it's good that he apologized for it, because I could see that being a big issue in the future if you're not putting your spouse first, especially when it's with your family and your parents. I feel like that's just going to be a bigger issue later. Ugh, okay. There are 2 more. Let's see what this next one is. Am I the asshole for telling my mother-in-law to get out of a photo of me and my husband that we were taking at the wedding? I, 29, a woman, was getting married to my now husband, 32-year-old man, and my mother-in-law, 59 years old, was invited to the wedding. I got a strange feeling because she continued trying to pick a wedding dress for me when I'd already picked one and said I did. I brushed it off as I was excited and all. She also tried to get her son to pick a large fancy cake that was like only 20% cake. He said no, as I had told him we were already making all the arrangements, music, decorations, and clothing. Fast forward to the day of the wedding. There's already some yikes in that one from the mother-in-law. Let's keep going. Fast forward to the day of the wedding. We had our ceremony. Everything went great. Food and service was amazing. We had an artist draw me and my husband when we kissed. I noticed my mother-in-law to be wearing a white, simple dress. Oh my God, no. Oh my God. She says, I didn't think much of it, even though I was a little upset. To have context, she's the only one besides me wearing the color. Okay, I'm going to stop right there. Immediate jail. Immediate jail for the mother-in-law wearing white. You should not have to be told not to wear white to a wedding, and the fact that it's your son's wedding, I think that's kind of weird and bad and gross. Stop it. Oh, okay. Let's continue. She says later, when it was photo taking time, I was going to take a photo with my husband. We stood in front of the camera. We had no official previous photos beside the kiss, but my mother-in-law walked into the photo. I told her politely if she could get out a little so me and my husband could take photos with the professional photographer first. She didn't listen and stayed in anyway, and my husband didn't say anything. Y'all, what is it with these mama boys not saying anything? Oh my gosh. The poster didn't say that. I'm saying that. What the fuck, guys? Let's see. A small update. I took one of our photos and photoshopped her out of it. You go, girl. As I didn't have a chance to get a photo with him alone. That is wild. That is wild. You didn't get a photo with him alone on your wedding day. She says, I posted on my Instagram and my mother-in-law texted me. Oh, here we go. She said, I'm disrespectful and family comes first through everything. But I said that it was my wedding and I understood that, but I wanted a photo with him alone and she didn't allow that. My husband's upset for me acting this way, saying I'm being dramatic. Oh, jail. Jail to the husband, jail to the mother-in-law. They should enjoy that time in jail together because they are perfect for each other. Good Lord. She's not the asshole. Let's see what Reddit thought. Yeah, not the asshole. Okay. There's an edit. Me and my husband have agreed to an annulment. And my mother-in-law is still calling me selfish. I've spoken to both of them and my husband is mad I called him a mama's boy. That's so hilarious. I just called him a mama's boy. My husband is mad I called him a mama's boy and I said his mother was encouraging emotional incest. That's hilarious. It was a big mistake that caused a lot of drama and I'm glad I didn't stay longer. Thanks for all of your support. Okay, Reddit divorce. You know what? Isn't that a beautiful thing? Yeah, no, that's a mama's boy, 100%. And yeah, if your spouse isn't gonna back you up to their parents, I love that. Update, we got an annulment. You know, you are not just marrying your spouse, you're marrying their family. And if the family is gonna be acting that way, girl, run. I'm so glad you did. Wow, yeah, not the asshole, the opposite. Okay, last one. We've had a lot of mother-in-laws. This one is not mother-in-law related. At least I don't think so. So this one is, am I the asshole for refusing to wear body makeup for my friend's wedding? Oh boy. My friend has just gotten engaged and has asked me to be her maid of honor. I'm beyond thrilled for her and beyond touched she's asked me, but it's on the condition I wear body makeup over my psoriasis. Oh no. Girl. Okay, the poster says, I can't do that. Not only is it impractical, but any makeup that will actually cover it will exacerbate the condition and make life miserable for me. Yeah, girl, no. Oh my gosh. Okay, so she says, to be clear, I have it well controlled. I'm not flaky. The skin is just very red. It covers 80% of one forearm, 20% of the other, both elbows, and I have a large patch on my calves and knees, about 90% of the top of one foot. Okay, cool. I use gentle manual exfoliation and a moisturizer that helps control the dry and excess skin. I apply the moisturizer a couple times a day and wouldn't be able to do this while wearing makeup. That's very valid. I let her know I wouldn't be able to do that, explained why, even though she knows I have to be careful with all the products I use, she's quite unhappy with me. She wants, quote, beautiful photographs that will make everyone feel beautiful and confident, end quote, which really upset me. Yikes, this is sounding a lot like the first one. I'm confident in my skin. I know it's there and people stare sometimes, but what can I do about that? Most people think I've had some kind of gnarly motorbike accident or something. I'm at a point in my life where I honestly don't care and I forget that it's unusual to see. Go off, girl. I know the reason is because she doesn't want to see it in her photos. I said as much to her and she was offended. I suggested that I wear something with long sleeves and a skirt, but she already has her heart set on a midi-length strapless dresses and a shawl covering. And she won't budge. It got to the point where she was getting heated because I won't do it and told me I either wear the body makeup or don't bother even coming. I ended up telling her either she has me in or not at all, and I left. She's now not speaking to me, but has told her fiance that I accepted the role, question mark. Am I the asshole? Should I suck it up and wear the body makeup and deal with it? I love my friend. I would hate to miss her wedding, but wearing the body makeup would just make the night so miserable and cause so much irritation and possibly pain. If it gets so bad, my skin splits again. What? Not the asshole. I love how I've said not the asshole about most of these posters. What is it with brides expecting this like Vogue cover model look from their bridesmaids? If they're your friends, if you asked her to be your maid of honor, it sounds like you are very good friends with her, and it's crazy to me that you would put a relationship like this in. If you were a good friend, you would know that she can't wear body makeup over her psoriasis. That is like, that's telling me you don't care about your friend in the first place. Why are you asking her to be in your party? And I agree. Somebody, let's see, comfortable_fun_9872 said, what is this fascination with people, wanting people in their party to not look like themselves at weddings? You may love your friend, but she doesn't love you for exactly who you are. Do not put yourself in pain for her, not the asshole. True. It's just I don't get why some brides do that. It's like your friend has psoriasis, which, and even if they didn't, even if this woman had no skin conditions, but she was like, I'm going to be uncomfortable wearing body makeup. Is it okay if I don't? Why would you say no? What is it with, again, brides just needing this, like these models in their wedding? I feel like I saw one recently. I could not find it again, but I did see a Reddit Am I the Asshole the other day about this woman who demanded that everybody be a size 4 to 6 for her wedding because she wanted, quote, the size to look even. Jail. Immediate jail. That is so insane to me. I feel so bad for that woman. Guys, I'm so sorry. If you were a Reddit poster and I dubbed you not the asshole, I'm very sorry. I hope that you have either ditched the friend, ditched the mother-in-law, or ditched the husband. Go off, girls. But yeah, that's so crazy. If you're asking someone to be in your party, you should want people to come as they are. You should want people to be who they are. You should want them in photos. You should want the like cute laughing smiley pics. You should just want joy for your day. I don't understand people who want otherwise. It just seems very, very unreasonable to be demanding such a specific look from people. Everybody looks different. Everybody's body type is different. Everybody looks better in different cuts of dresses, different colors. And when my husband and I got married, we were like, everybody just wear your favorite color, wear what you want. We were having, I mean, as you can see, I talked about how my lovely grandmother made me this shawl. And it's rainbow. It's my favorite thing ever. And it's rainbow because our wedding was at a garden and it was multicolor themed. So when we told people to wear what they want, we truly meant like wear what you want. As long as it's not stark white or blackest black, like just pick your favorite color and wear it. And newsflash, everybody picked a different color and everybody looked so good. I don't understand brides who just get bent out of shape about what other people wear. It's your friends. You know what your friends look like. If your friends don't fit your aesthetic, if you care more about like the certain look of your friends in your wedding photos, you're not really friends. That's a hot take. Maybe it's not. You're an asshole if you want your friends to look a certain way for your wedding. I mean, there's like if you say cocktail attire and they come in sweatpants, sure, that's not cool. But guys, stop making people wear uncomfortable clothing to your wedding to make you look better. That like the first one who had her bridesmaids in very tight-fitting clothes and everybody was sizes 2 to 6 except for this one woman. Like, I mean, I guess it's cool she wants people to come as they are, but I thought it was very weird that she was definitely like awkward about, oh, but you're so confident and it's giving real woman. And like to an extent, yeah, it's giving real woman, but you're also giving real asshole for like wanting to have a fat woman in your wedding so that you can say you had a fat woman in your wedding. It's almost like the opposite problem. Like instead of cutting her out of your wedding, you wanted her there to like make yourself seem like some kind of saint for allowing, big air quotes, a fat person to be in your wedding. Like, fuck off. Most people in there were not assholes except for the one guy. So, maybe I'm just an asshole and don't like men. Anyway, jail to all those mother-in-laws too. Yikes. That is it, guys. So, I think I forgot to say at the beginning of the episode, but I will say I'm Curly Savello. I'm a talking person, and I will see you guys on the next one. Bye.